Okay, so this is going to be our third and final option that we have to create on a circuit board. And you can see that this one, we relatively use no dimensions, but we're going to use a table to justify where each of our circles or cutout is for our circuit board. The one thing that we do have on this one is that we have a locator to tell us where 0, 0 is. So that can tell us relative from this point, these are the locations that all of our circles are located at. You can see there are some missing dimensions on this one. For example, our A6 and A5, they're just labeled as A's. But you should be able to tell from the dimensions that you see here which one is A6 and A5. And we'll do that in the drawing and make sure that we adjust that correctly. Okay, let's go ahead and switch on over to AutoCAD, and we're going to continue right where we left off from the last example. Okay, so with this one being created, let's go ahead and create our example number 3. Once again, I have example number 2 done, and we can go back and look at our first video to see how to set all of this up. If you do so, if you want to do so and learn to insert the title block in and manipulate everything. Well, for our example, I'm just going to right click on example 2, tell it to move copy, create a copy, and I want it to move right before layout 2. Select OK. Let's go ahead and rename example 2 by doing a right click, choose rename, and let's go ahead and call this example 3. Okay, so I will erase all of my dimensions that I have on this drawing. And I just realized that I'm working on example 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo this back. And then I'll switch over to example 3. Now I'm able to delete the dimensions that I want to delete. Okay, so I'm just selecting all of my ordinate dimensions that I created. Select and delete. Now with this one, there's no fast way of changing these dimensions or changing these labels. So I'm just going to use the ED command. That stands for edit. Select here. This is A1. Then I'll select the next one, which is A2. And what I'd usually do is select off of the text command, then I'll go and select the next one. A3. A4. And this is the one that we was trying to figure out which one is A5 and which one is A6. Well, A5 is going to be this top one. You notice that it's located in the y-axis 2.75 above. So this is going to make this A5. This is A6. Let's go back and take a look at our B dimensions now. This is B1. B2. B3 and B4. We have our C dimensions, which is C1. C2, C3, and then C4. This is D1 and D2. Okay, I'll move this over to the side. So I'm just going to use the regular move command. Once again, make sure you highlight your viewport as well as your text. Once you're done with that, just go ahead and move it to the side. Okay. So now you have to decide either you have enough stuff here to save or should you create another table? In this case, I'm going to go ahead and create another table for you. So I'll select, go ahead and delete this table. Our table style is still set up from my last one. So I'll just go ahead and insert in a table. This one has 5 columns. And I accidentally hit the enter button early. Let's go back to that. So table. I have 5 columns. And in this case, you can see that we do have 16 rows. So we have 6 of this one, plus another 8 and 2 more. That should make 16. So I'll tell us that we got 16 data rows. Select OK. Go ahead and place it at this top end point. I'll start typing in whole layout. Remember, I'm just using the tab button. And let me go ahead and move my screen over a little bit so you can see all of the text that I'm typing in. Once again, I'm just going to use tab. Now, I found sometimes it's a lot easier just to run down a whole column, so I did A1. If I hit the down arrow, I can go to A2 and just keep going from here. And it looks like I messed up on one. So let me go ahead and adjust this one, go down to this one. This is A5, and this is A6. Then I'll have B1, B2, B3, and then B4. C1, C2, C3. It looks like I'm going a little too fast with my computer today. C3, C4. And I'll come back and I'll adjust the formatting on this one. Oh, looks like I forgot C2. C2, C3, C4, D1, and D2. Okay. So next, I'm just going to double click in this column right underneath my X. I'll start typing in my values for all these columns. Okay. And I will speed up the rest of this so you won't have to sit and watch me type in all of these numbers. Okay, so I got all the text typed into my table. Let's go ahead and start adjusting things over. And I noticed that everything is middle justified. So let's go ahead and take care of that as well. So I'm just going to click in one of the cells of my table. And I'll click the top left corner. Choose the line, choose the alignment, then choose middle center. I'll choose the A column. Now I can adjust this over. Now remember, sometimes if your O-snaps and things of that nature are getting in the way and stopping you from pulling things over, you can turn your O-snaps off and that won't affect anything when you're dealing with these columns. I'll select the B side, B column. Then I'll drag this over, adjust my X, choose the B size on this one, and then finally my last block would be this one. Okay, so next I want to make sure everything is formatted with 3 decimal places, and I'm going to suppress the leading 0, and that's going to happen anywhere from this box. So I selected this one first, do a left click and hold, and drag and select all the other boxes. Do a right click, choose Format Data. Decimal, decimal, tell it you want 3 places, choose the additional formatting, and we're going to suppress the leading 0. Once I select OK and this OK, all of my text should come out looking pretty much the way I want it. Next, let's select the top cell in this column, do a left click and hold and drag all the way down to the 0.375, right click, Format Data, decimal, everything is already set except for go to the additional formatting and then give a prefix of this one, which is %%C. Select OK and then OK. This bottom one, so one click in this one, left click and hold and drag down, right click, Format Data, additional formatting, then use a capital R. OK in this one, one click on this one, and then a left click and hold in this same box and come down to here, and then you can release the click, do a right click, Format Data, additional formatting, and then you can use a %P for plus or minus. OK, and then OK. Okay, so everything we needed to do on this one is completed. Or as the table, if you want to put a datum here, all that is just go ahead and create a circle, center diameter. Now I want to place it at this endpoint. Let's turn my O-snaps back on. And then I have to determine what size I want to make it. Let's go ahead and make it 0.25. Notice that I'm creating my data on the outside, so I'm not creating it inside a model space. I have my paper space icon. Let's go ahead and create a line. Let's go across from this quadrant to that quadrant. And another line from this quadrant going down to this quadrant. I'll use hatch. And I'm waiting on my ribbon to change. I'll use the solid option. Select that endpoint, or not endpoint, on the inside of that region and the inside of this region, and tell it to close the hatch creation. Now this does have some lines sticking out a little farther, so if you want to use lengthen, choose the word delta. I'm going to click this endpoint, and what I'm going to use is to set my distance. And you can see I have the tracking coming down. I'll type in 0.0625, enter. And now I can select that line, this line. Now although you won't see it, I usually like to select it anyway. You can see the top of that extending up, and then one click on it going this direction. Escape. I can copy one of these texts, pick a base point underneath this, and then I'm just going to edit this text by using the edit command. Select it, and then I'll use the parentheses 0, 0, and then close parentheses, click somewhere else, and then do a escape. Okay, so now this one is also completed. This one was more or less a workout of tables, so just so you can get familiar with it. If you didn't select the right amount of tables, you can add tables, or I'm sorry, add rows or columns. So if I select the column of 18, you'll see on the top here I do have the option to insert rows, delete rows, just like I also have the option to add columns and delete columns and merge cells and things of that nature. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed watching this one, as it truly was a table workout on this one, more or less a drafting workout. And once again, I want to thank you for sticking with it and watching.